Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I am very excited for a new type of video that we're launching on the channel, which is individual book reviews. I want to do more of them because I feel like a lot of my book roundup videos, I don't get to talk in depth enough about certain books, and sometimes you guys are just coming here for a review about a certain book and I want to provide that. So hello, if you're new here, I'm Kirsten, and this is our little corner of the internet where we talk about books, book reviews, reading vlogs, all things books. If you end up liking this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss another video. And anyway, let's get into the review. Bunny by Mona Awad. I finished this just the other day, and I haven't felt so much while reading a book in a long time. So the format of these videos, I'm gonna give you a little synopsis in case you're not familiar. Then we'll talk about what I loved about it, what I didn't love about it, if I would recommend it, and who I would recommend it to, as well as who I would not recommend it to. So to give you a brief synopsis, this book is kind of categorized in the dark academia realm, but it's more than that. So you're following our main character, Samantha. She has enrolled in a prestigious MFA program pursuing writing at Warren University. In her workshop class, her cohort consists of 4 other girls. They are kind of a cliquey, rich, twee group of girls that all call each other Bunny. They are like overly obsessed with each other, and Samantha is very much the outsider until about 3 years into the program, or a couple years into the program, they start inviting her to things. And Samantha is very much the opposite of the bunnies. But for some reason, she ends up accepting an invite and getting sucked in to this culty, weird, strange vibe and kind of becoming disconnected from her true best friend, Ava. It's witty, it's hilarious, it's satirical, and it kind of explores the dark side of female friendship, the dark side of, I guess, fake creatives, what it means to be creative, and there are light elements of horror. And for some context, I am not someone who reads horror. I do not enjoy it. I don't like gore. There is a little bit of gore in this book, and I'm not gonna give any spoilers. If you guys are ever interested in a chat where we do talk about spoilers and I do talk about my thoughts on the details of what happened in the book more thoroughly, please comment below because those are videos that I would love to make if you guys are interested. This had just the right amount of horror elements and gruesomeness that I felt okay reading it. So if you're someone like me who really doesn't like horror, I feel like this kind of toes that line a little bit. So definitely give it a try, even if you're not a horror fan. So it's very much magical realism. Reading this feels like a fever dream. You're just following Samantha as she is going through this program and starts interacting with the bunnies, and some culty things start happening. That's as much as I'll give you for the synopsis so we avoid spoilers. So the things that I loved about this book, and I say loved and not liked because I loved them. Mona Awad's writing, number 1. Her writing is so visceral from the first page. I was completely captivated, completely sucked in. The way she describes the bunnies and the atmosphere and just everything with such detail in ways that I would have never thought to describe things that just scratch a certain itch in my brain is everything to me. I take so much inspiration from the way Mona Awad writes. It feels like she's just following her wildest fantasies with her writing. It feels like she's just unbound and being so creative and so experimental with the way she uses words. It is incredibly inspiring. And I think a lot of people would agree with that, even if you don't like the plot or the narrative of this book. I do want to preface this to say, this book is definitely not for everyone, and we'll get to that later in the video of who I think this is for and who I think it's not for. Continuing on with the things I loved the exploration of female friendship and the dark side of female friendship with the group of the bunnies. From the outside, they look like they're utterly in love and obsessed with each other, and I think on some level they very much are, and they very much were in this story. But it also plays around with the fakeness behind that sickly sweet love. Imagine you're not really friends with a girl, or maybe you are friends with a girl. There's kind of that overpowering love to the point where you know it's not real and it's not genuine, but they're portraying it in a way where they're like, oh my God, you're everything to me. I love you so much. But you can also hear the undertone of hatred, and that they're actually plotting your demise but pretending to love you for some strange reason. They have an alternate agenda. You know what I'm talking about if you've ever experienced that from someone? That is very much heightened with the bunnies. They're very much talking to Samantha like, oh bunny, you're so smart, you're so genius, you're so amazing, in order to get something from her, and you know it's fake. And then it makes everything else they do seem fake, even if maybe it is genuine and they genuinely do love each other within their circle. They're all also very self-centered. That's what these girls are like. They all wear frilly dresses with like little kittens on them, eat like mini treats, everything in mini. Their hair is glossy and perfect. Their lips are shining, shimmery. They're utterly perfect on the outside. And the way that Mona Awad writes all the imagery of like cupcakes and unicorns and pastel colors and these beautiful girls with glossy hair and perfect lip gloss, sorry. They think lipstick is for whores. And then it's contrasted with the dark side of what happens in this book, which is very much bloody and kind of gothic and just mixed in with that fairy tale horror. It makes it that much more magical, and it also makes the cupcake imagery and the heads exploding, it balances things out, so it makes the gruesome parts, at least for someone who doesn't like gruesome things in books and movies, more tolerable, because you'll have this fun scene where they're all out eating like mini cupcakes in their cutie dresses and being overly obnoxious with each other, and then they're like literally committing murder. I also love just how unique this plot is. I've never read anything like it. I feel like it went places that I would have never imagined the story to go. I also loved that the entire time you're reading this, you feel like you're in a fever dream. And that's intentional. And I really loved how well done that was. And even when I wasn't reading the book actively, during the day, it lingered with me. It stayed with me. I felt like it was in my dreams. I felt like I was like living in this story. It felt like I was hallucinating. I also loved the college setting. I loved that the characters were all writers and they were pursuing something creative. And I loved the discussion on creativity, and also, again, the kind of pursuit of creativity as something disingenuine, where I feel like the bunnies are really trying to be creative and dig deep and get to the root of things and explore these things on such a surface level, and they think that they are more than what they are, whereas Samantha is actually a true creative person. And that's kind of where things get messy. It was almost kind of making fun of people. I'm just gonna be honest. I was an English major in college. Sometimes people take things too far where they'll explore, which maybe I could even be doing this myself and I don't notice it, but where they'll take a piece of poetry or a part of a book and we're discussing it. We're English majors, right? They take things too far and it becomes just fake, and sometimes the answer is simple and they're making it more complex for like the show of it. That's what the bunnies kind of give off in their writing class, and they see genius where there's no genius to be seen, and I think that's so funny and it's so well done in this book. Loved how much I disliked the characters. I just loved the kind of satirical, witty humor in this book, and there were moments in it where I was like, oh, I relate to this, and then I was like, oh no, I relate to this. What I didn't like about this book, I really can't pinpoint a thing that I didn't like. That's why this is a 5-star read for me. I think a lot of discourse around this book is that it's confusing. You kind of get to the end and you're like, what the heck happened? And I see why that frustrates people. But I also really loved that because it added to the experience of reading it. Like, I felt like I was supposed to be confused. But then once I got to the end and I kind of sat with it and I thought about what it meant and I watched some other creators talking about it, I appreciated it even more, because I think in order to get what you want to get out of this book, you kind of have to think and put the pieces together for yourself, because while this is based in a certain type of reality, it's not exactly our reality. So there are fairy tale and magical realism elements that can happen in this world. And so once you kind of wrap your head around that and look at it from that perspective, I think you'll have more appreciation for what happened and kind of be able to draw your own conclusion about the ending and what the ending meant and how the pieces fit together. I would love to see or hear Mona Awad speak about that and what was the intended meaning of the ending. I know that a lot of books kind of take on a life of their own depending on who's reading it. And I just appreciated that so much with Bunny. With that being said, I'll get into who I will recommend this to and who I wouldn't. So like I said before, if you are not interested in feeling confused and feeling like you are in a fever dream actually, and you want a plot that is very predictable and a narrative that you can understand clearly, you know what's happening, it's grounded in reality, there aren't any like dreamlike qualities or things where you're like, is this real? Is she on drugs? What's going on? Then I would not recommend this to you. You're not gonna like it. But if you are interested in that and you want something kind of weird, you want something funny, you want something dark, you enjoy a good fairy tale, you enjoy a little bit of blood, then I think you would really like this. If you want everything to feel like rainbows and butterflies the whole time, don't read this. If you're fine with rainbows and butterflies being made fun of and also some gruesome, dark elements, I think you would like this. I think if you're a writer or you're in any type of creative field, I also think you would like this. If you have a very open mind, I think you would like this book. Part of me wants to recommend this book to everyone because I loved it that much. I think it's gonna have an influence on my personal creative endeavors in the future. And I would love to scream from the rooftops, everybody should read Bunny by Mona Awad. And I will be reading every single thing Mona Awad writes in the future. But I also can understand why some people do not like this book. So you really have to know what you're getting into when you pick this book up and if you decide to pick it up. If any of you guys have read Bunny by Mona Awad, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I would love to know. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video. Please subscribe if you feel like it. And I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye.